I'm Liz Larson.
And I'm Bill McKenna.
And together, we created the Cogno Movement System. And we'd like to welcome you to the New Life Perspectives radio show,
where we're going to be sharing with you tools, tips, and ideas that are going to change your life.
Hello in UK Health Radio Land. This is Liz Larson with New Life Perspectives radio show, one half of the Cogno Movement team. And this week we have back with us the famous
Bill McKenna.
Hey, Bill. We missed you last week.
Oh, man. Me too. That interview was awesome.
You know, it's so fun to be here with everybody on UK Health Radio, but we have been crazy busy, right? We have some big news.
Oh, yeah. We have a big interview coming out next week on Gaia.com, and that is going to be on quantum manifesting. We call it Cogno Quantum, and it is the ability to manifest things really quickly, but doing it a whole different way that incorporates your body. I know it sounds strange, but it's a very visceral experience with very real ramifications.
It's so true. So if you guys have not heard of Gaia TV, it's Gaia. Gaia. Boy, I can't spell. Gaia.com. And it's a streaming service that has amazing content on it. Our friend Bill here, I think this is going to be his 5th video. And every time he gives away some really interesting thing, just like he does here on our radio show. And the subjects are health, yoga, energy, medicine, UFOs, conspiracy. It is really a fun platform to watch. And a lot of it's very, very positive. So Guy.com is where that interview is going to launch on July 8th. So we're really, really excited about that. But the topic is quantum manifesting. So let's back up just a tiny bit, Bill. For people who don't know what we mean by manifesting, what are we talking about when we say manifesting?
Well, manifesting is where you think and feel something. The typical definition of it is thinking and feeling your desire for something, and then it shows up. And maybe it shows up as a coincidence, like, wow, it's I was thinking about getting a radio, and then somebody sends me a gift of a radio, for no good reason. It's not my birthday, but they say, oh, thinking of you, and radio shows up. So it is a very real phenomenon that has been written about quite a bit in the past 15 years or so.
Well, actually, even more than that, Bill, all the way back to Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. And it's even in biblical texts, ask and it is given, right?
Right.
It's everywhere. But I think you're right. In modern day, we really have taken it to the next level with things like What the Bleep, Lynn McTaggart's The Field, even Rupert Sheldrake is talking about it, Rupert Sheldrake. And it really is that idea that you can create your own life by focused attention, right?
Exactly. It's what we think and feel that creates our reality. Now, there are varying levels or varying degrees of how good people are at this. You've seen people in your life that they're charmed, they lead a charmed life. Things seem to come very easy for them. And there's even the people you don't know that are, the billionaires, right? And it's like, my gosh, everything just seems to line up for them so very, very easily. They kind of almost seem to bend reality. Reality morphs to whatever they need. Laws change, rules change, and where instead of like, well, this is the law, and this is the way it is, well, all of a sudden now it's no longer the case, and then their desire becomes a reality. So it is a amazing phenomenon that works at a quantum level. And when I say quantum level, I am saying scientifically this has been proven that our observation at a quantum level actually creates change. There are amazing experiments that have been done where the observer effect, where you observe an experiment, and based upon who is observing the experiment, the results will change. So it almost seems like, well, it doesn't seem like, it actually is. The only variable is us, the observer, and how we end up affecting at the quantum level.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we could talk about this scientific stuff, but in real life, that's always the truth is from whose perspective is whose reality you see. So, it's that old story of somebody who, they see trash and someone else sees treasure. Who's right? Both are, depending on your perspective, your experience, what's happening in your life, what you know, what you can do. So, with Cogno Movement, for those of you guys out there who don't know, Bill and I are the co-creators of the Cogno Movement system. Bill's the founder, and we're changing lives every day. And in our work, we noticed that people's lives were changing outside of the session. That was the interesting part. So we expect the person inside the session, working with you or me or one of our practitioners around the world, or in a class or a seminar, to experience a big change in perspective because we're shifting the way their nervous system is experiencing the world around them. And old problems dissolve, situations seem to be no longer important. So when they go out in the world looks different to them. We knew that. We knew people's lives were changing dramatically. But what was shocking to us and what put us on this path, particularly with, quantum manifesting, was we started to see that the people around the person who had the session were different. Everything started to change in a wide swath around the people who were having these cogno movement experiences. So, for us, like that was incredible. Can you think of a story to share? Maybe one that we haven't shared before about somebody's life changing immediately after just a regular cogno movement session?
Oh, yeah. So this was a really there's been so many, and it happens constantly. so so I had a interesting session where this particular person came to me, and they had a lot of marital problems. Now, he didn't want to work on the marital problems. He had cravings for red wine. He says, the first thing I want to do is work on my craving for red wine. I drink a lot of it every night, and I can't help it. I crave it so much. When the sun goes down, it's red wine time. And he doesn't drink it the rest of the time, just when the sun goes down. Well, there we are. We're doing a cogno movement. In a cogno movement session is where we do this exercise where they focus on a problem, and then they do these specific movements that we have discovered that unleash it. It creates emotional amnesia or craving amnesia, and creates epiphanies of that you just never would be able to have otherwise. We have figured out how to get access to your subconscious and through a particular movement. So I'm working with this guy, and I say, you know, take me back as we're doing this movement. I said, let's go back to the very first realization of when you had a good time with red wine. And he said, you know, we're doing the movements. And he said, oh, okay, all right, I can see it. It's a time when he was with his dad and the rest of his family at their house, and they were having like a party. And I said, well, what's the feeling? He said, oh my gosh, it just feels so good and warm, and the food smells good, and I have a glass of, you know, red wine, and I'm enjoying it. And I said, well, what's going on at this party? And, you know, who's there? Well, it's, you know, the family. And I say, is there anything significant that happened at this party? And he said, well, yes. A 10-year estrangement between the father and the daughter was mended. It was mended at this party. They had gotten together, hadn't seen each other in a decade. And so he's there having this feeling of, oh my God, my sister and my dad are finally at peace. You know, and he had this good feeling about them being at peace, and he's drinking the red wine. Well, the epiphany was that it wasn't the wine. It was the that my family is united. So anyway, we worked with him, and the feeling went through his body. You feel this physically go and leave your body. And afterwards, you know, after the session, not only, you know, he realized that, you know, that my desire for red wine is my desire for things to be okay with my family, and they not okay. And so he ends up when he goes back to his house, I get a text, and for days afterwards, he's like, I feel nauseous about the red wine. It's sunset's going down, and ordinarily I would be at the bottle, right? And he was like, no, no, it makes me sick to my stomach. And 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 um, and he said that he was able to come to a conclusion that he had always been about um, uh, unapologetic to the family that he had created and for certain things. And he was able to apologize for what he had done and to come to a whole new realization. And the family was at peace and united. So it was the red wine that was causing, you know, him to associate, and also keeping kind of the block from him coming to the reality during this that it's really him, and he just needs to completely own up to it all, apologize, and everybody forgave, and the family moved forward. So it's just an absolutely huge deal with Cogno Movement, where you don't even know what you're getting into, because these problems are stored in the subconscious, and we can eradicate them, bring them up and out, and free the person so that they can have a better life. It's really all about a better life. Just
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And the fact that the perspective changed. So when you think you're talking about red wine, what you're really talking about is making amends with your family. And this is exactly what we're talking about. His past was creating his future. So we're talking about manifesting. Lots of times we're talking about writing an affirmation or putting an idea in our mind and focusing on it. You know, it reminds me of Roberto Benigni in La Vita è Bella. He's sitting at the bottom of a big opera house, and he's looking up at this woman that he wants to get her attention, and he's saying in Italian, guardami, principessa." Look at me, princess, look at me. And he's doing this thing with his hands, to get her to look at him, trying to draw it in. And I think that's what we're doing most of the time when we're trying to manifest. You know, we got the thing and we've got the guardami, guarda, come to me, look at me, right? Well,
Right.
in the case of the story that you told, really what was controlling his life, really what was manifesting it was this signal going off in the body, right? I want
Right.
my family to be okay, so I'm going to drink the wine. The wine didn't do anything but numb the fact that he needed to change something in his life.
That it
So,
wasn't okay. Yeah, that
yeah,
that he wanted the feeling of everything is united, and I'm gonna try and create the feeling through this red wine of everything's united, but avoiding that I need to fess up and own up and
yeah,
apologize. And the clarity, literal neurological connections to have the clarity.
that's it. So with Cogno Movement, we discovered early on that people's lives, they were manifesting things. They were changing things like crazy because they were changing those internal drivers, those internal patterns that happened sometime in their past and were literally populating their future with that old nervous system pattern that just doesn't work anymore. Then, because that was happening already, the curiosity was like, man, how is this having really what is a quantum effect? So, why are we saying quantum? Because it happens on a level that doesn't appear to be, our everyday physical. And it's happening energetically. But the most exciting thing is it's just flat out happening in people's lives. So, we've seen people who said, okay, here's what I want. I want real estate property. And they clear the feeling out of their body that makes them feel not worthy enough, that makes them feel confused about that makes them feel like it could never happen for them. And 10 minutes after the session, they get a call that someone wants to rent a part of their property. I mean, that fast. So it made us curious and we started to put our attention towards how is this happening? Well, we already knew some things, right? We knew that the pattern in our body, the brain body cycle was running electricity, hormones, chemicals, and kind of creating a field, not kind of, actually creating a field. The energy cycling. We also knew that the heart creates a field 6 to 8 feet around us. Heart Math Institute did that work, right? We know because of an MEG that the brain emits a field. So we realize there's this big field around us, all of our energy playing in it. I think this is one of the big things we don't realize. We talk about our health, right? Our physical health, talk about our mental health, but we don't talk about this electrical health that's around us. So this is what Bill and I really started getting curious about. Well, then we realized that those signals, like the man with the red wine and things are not always okay, so I got to drink the wine to keep things okay, was throwing off a signal that was filling up this space around him, that 6 to 8 feet with things are not okay with my family. And then we have the greater field, the big field around us that we all contribute to, right? And that just was creating a match. So the three places, body, our own field around us, and the greater field all lining up to create a single thing. When we're doing it subconsciously, it's stuff we don't want. But now we know we can do it consciously, right?
Right. This is really, really huge. So most of us will manifest by default. Another way to look at this is our prayer is our feeling, and our prayer always gets answered. Our prayer is our feeling, and our prayer will always be answered. So we have our feelings running amok, right? The recent times have been, very much this way with all the pandemic and what have you. People's feelings have just been running amok with fear and the consequent chaos that ensued. So if we can feel different, we will manifest differently. But that sounds like a tall order,
Yeah.
because we're all trying to do that, but it's an unfair battle. Our feelings come out of our subconscious, which our subconscious affects our physical body, and it expresses itself through the body as a feeling. And then we humans will try to fight the feeling with the thought. So we're trying to fight our subconscious, which creates a feeling with our thoughts. Like, don't feel that way. I shouldn't be feeling that way. So it doesn't really manifest.
It's kind of like a funny thing and kind of gross, but sugarcoating a turd is what I think about when you feel terrible, but you're really, really trying to um, sugarcoat it with this good thought, right? You're trying to cover it up with this positive thought, or writing down your positive affirmation. When the truth is in your gut, you just feel awful about whatever that thing is, right? So it always makes me laugh. It's a little like sugarcoating a turd. Yeah. So it's interesting with Cogno Movement, we realized that early on that it really is this physical feeling, that the feeling in the body actually informs the mind. It's not the other way around. We think it is. We think our mind is all knowing, but it's not. Our nervous system is the thing that's trying to constantly keep us safe and alive, right? And the nervous system reacts instantly. It tells you instantly how to feel. And that feeling goes to the mind and tells you how to think. The brain, I mean, it's got to use logic and memories. It's slow. So our nervous system is quick, and it's the quickest way that we can create change, right?
Exactly. Now, one of the things that we don't really realize is that um, in our field, these things are created. Now, Liz earlier talked about the MEG, which is short for magnetoencephalography. Magneto is magnet, encephalus, brain, and ography is display. Now, these devices, they're in several universities around the globe. It is, instead of an EEG, which you put on a brain cap and it measures brain waves, now they use this MEG, and it's not attached to your head. The actual sensors are out in space, and it feels you can't. It's not touching you, but these sensors actually pick up your thought, your electrical charge from your thought in your field. So it is not just in your brain. It's literally, we can measure it today with this MEG, and it is proven that your thoughts are not local. Now, the interesting thing, a little bit later in this program, your freebie for today, which I'm going to show you, is that you're going to be actually able to feel physically with your physical hand today. You're going to be able to feel your thought and feeling and situation in the field that's right around you. I know it sounds bizarre. I was shocked when Liz Larson had discovered this. And anyway, I guess as it turns out, nothing on the universe is new. There's others who have actually discovered it as well, way back in ancient times. So this is really kind of a neat rediscovery of information. I think Liz is probably a reincarnated ancient priest from back in the day.
No,
And
you know what it is, Bill? It's really just having a way, way, way too busy mind. I share this story in the book, but what happened is we were doing these daily sessions, and Bill and I were trading off teaching, and he was doing something we'd done before. And my mind just started to go deeper into the why. Why is this happening? It's so cool, but I want to know why. I want to know all the answers. But I think what it boils down to, which I'm so
related to manifesting is what
right, the
she's talking
manifesting.
about. Yeah,
How is
she's
it
wanting to know
happening?
why we're manifesting. Yeah.
Yeah, why is it happening? But here's what it boils down to, which is so exciting. And if everybody could hear this one thing, is that it's not out there somewhere in la la land. We don't have to send the prayer up into the sky. It's in our physical body. And then in the field right around us, our physical field, and it just acts like a magnet. So that's where the signals are coming from. And that's where they come back to. It's no different than two ends of a magnet. Now, so let's say your guy with the red wine, what he wanted was a happy family, but what he was putting out, what his body was putting out was my body, my family's unhappy and I have to drink wine to fix it. Now he wasn't aware of that, but he was literally the anti-magnet, the backward side of a magnet to that happy family. Now his nervous system is free and clear because of his Cogno Movement session to attract and actually have that family that he so desires. Now the signal's free and clear. Now he's attracting the thing that he actually wants. That I think is the coolest thing, guys. This is so physical. It ends up being weird and metaphysical only because things show up it feels so miraculous. But if you know the mechanics, you clear the way for anything that's not what you want out of your nervous system and clear your field. So that's the thing that Bill's actually going to show you guys today. We're not quite there yet, but let's talk about that. What the heck is in our field? I reached out and touched it one day. And like you said, it's not that it's the new thing on the planet. I just didn't know it was a thing. But the day that I tried it out, I'm like, I wonder if I just reach out and touch that thing. I kind of knew where it was in my field. I kind of knew, like, we kind of know. Why do we kind of know? Isn't that interesting, Bill? But I reached out and touched it and take it from there. Tell people what's actually there in that field.
So everything that you have experienced in your life and everything that you desire is actually right in the field around you. And when I say the field around you, I mean if you put your arms out, you stretched your arms out, and as far as your tips of your fingers are, that's the typical field, the energy field that's around you. Now, have you ever been standing somewhere, in line, and you don't have to look behind you, but you feel somebody just a little bit too close? Now, they're not touching you. You can't hear them breathe, but you feel it. You're like, whoa, hey, 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 now it's personal space, and you're like, whoa, this person is riding me, and you feel that is their energy field. They're in your energy field, or their energy field is a little bit too close to yours, and you can feel it. Well, guess what? That is just, I wanted to show everybody, because everybody listening to this has had that experience, right? Is they feel somebody. Even though they're not looking at them with their hand, they can feel it. Well, all of these desires and resentments and difficulties are sitting out in our field. And what I'm going to show at the end is that you're going to actually reach out, feel, and touch it. And when you do, it's amazing. It is like there is a density to it. Like everybody's had some trauma in their life, some difficulty, a divorce, an ex, a father, a mother that was mean, they had something happen to them in, and um, it feels like what I would call air jello. It's just there's a little bit of density to it. There'll be heat or cold. Sometimes you stick your hand right in the middle of it and you'll feel like electrical shocking right in there in extreme cases where people are really super agitated. There's kind of many people feel it in different ways, but there's actually, even when you put your hand underneath it, you'll actually feel like, oh my gosh, it's physical and it even has a weight. It's just, it's, I know what you're saying. Everybody's thinking is like, hey man, this guy's been smoking something funny, because that is not true. But the beautiful thing today is I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to knock it out of your field, which can have a real impact on your life. These things are super dense and they keep things from manifesting. If you looked at it like sludge, right? And if you were just walking through air to get to your kitchen, it's easy to walk through air to get to your kitchen. But if your whole room was filled with sludge, walking to your kitchen would be very hard. So the technique I'm going to show you is to clear it out so that, that walk to your kitchen, which would, let's say, the manifestation of what you want, becomes super easy. And it will all make more sense when you get the complete picture. Cogno Quantum, you can look it up, cognomovement.com. There's not enough time in this interview to kind of go into all of it, but we basically accelerate your manifestations.
So, Bill, let me share just a minute. Might help clarify just a tiny bit about where is it specifically in the field. So, people will ask, does if it's about money, is it in a specific place? Is it about if about fame, and is it in a specific place? Not necessarily. It's funny, our brains have these thing called place cells. We know where things are in space. We also know if we've been knocked loony, if we have a concussion or whatever, we may not be able to find where we are in space. We lose our bounce. But for the most part, we know where we are in space, and we sort of have this idea about where things live in our field, even though we're not aware. So it's one of those things where I'm Italian, I talk with my hands. And if I'm referring to a specific situation or person, I will actually just gesture there. We do it all the time unconsciously. But we cue people. If you knew where that was, reach out and grab it. And amazingly, every time they know exactly where it is. It has to do with where your brain positions things in your field. Now, another level of this that we won't go into so much now, but we match the place in the body, the place in the field, and the place in the brain to get this quantum effect, where the nervous system is so connected on that particular issue that it creates an even bigger electromagnetic field. Now, the thing that Bill's going to show everybody is sometimes that thing that has such a giant electromagnetic field, we do not want it. So Bill said it keeps things from manifesting. Yes, that's true. It can hold something out of your field that you do want, but guarantee it is manifesting whatever is in your field. And if it's a big something you don't want, you want to get it out of there. So the amazing thing, our discovery at Cogno Quantum, is that we really can change the way it is in the body, change the electromagnetic field of the body, and then change that echo in the field, that thing that people can feel around you, that black cloud that follows you, or the wonderful sunny disposition that you have that people can feel. We can make that bigger. So we can use this field and create a super magnet for what you do want and just stop the signal for what you don't. So, Bill, we have about 8 minutes. So, take it away. Kind of give everybody a sample right before you do. Cognomovement.com. July, come visit us. We're going to have this new Cogno Quantum course. So you can learn all this crazy stuff we're talking about very simply. Bill and I will take you through in an online course where you can learn it. There will be the book where you can learn about it. You can hear the stories. It's a very short book, The Tiny Book of Big Manifesting. And then July 8th, Gaia.com will be another interview with Bill McKenna on Gaia.com, where you can find out more and actually see this. The thing that he's going to tell you now, you can actually see it on Gaia. So take it away, Bill McKenna.
Okay, fantastic. So Cogno Movement is Cogno, Cogno, like your brain, and movement. Cogno Movement. Okay, here we go. We're going to learn about actually locating something in your field, and then what can we do about it. So what I'm going to have you to do is put your mind on the biggest problem, let's say, that you've had in your life. Maybe it's a person, maybe it's a situation, and just whatever that problem is, just put your mind there. I know it's unpleasant, but this process may help out a little bit in your overall life. Notice how bad this situation was, and close your eyes and put the degree of it on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm sure it's got to be very high if it's one of the big things in your life. And now, as your eyes are closed, and you have this on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to simply not care. Don't care. You cannot mess this up. But let go of caring if I do this right or wrong or anything like that. Your system already knows where this is in the field that's around you. Remember what we talked about earlier, which on my field is just the little area you stretch out your arms and it's right around you, just as far as you can stretch your arms out. What you're going to do with your eyes closed is now you're going to point to wherever it is. I'm going to count you down from 3 to 0. And at 0, you're going to just point to the place that you think that it is. That's all. 3, 2, 1, 0. Point to it. Okay. All right. Now, open up your hand, your physical hand. Focus on your hand and this issue and simply feel around that area very, very slowly with the physical hand. With the physical hand, slowly feel around in the area that you're pointing to. Just opening the hand. Now, all you're doing is noticing what your hand feels about this problem. Just this feeling, is the air a little bit denser right here? Does it feel like it's a little heavier right here? Does it feel cold? What do I feel right here? Feel the front of it, feel the left side of it. Go and feel the right side of it. Feel its parameters. Put your hand underneath it, come underneath it, and notice if you feel a bit of weight. Back away from it, and then come towards it again, and notice how you actually can feel it. You feel it as a difference. There's something different in the field, in that little air pocket there. There's something different. It's amazing. All you have to do, not care, and just feel whatever your hand feels. You're not creating this in your mind. You're actually feeling it with the physical hand. Feel all around it. And now, put your hand right in the middle of it. Put your hand right in the middle of it and ask this question. The question is, what is it that I have yet to learn? What is it that I have yet to learn about this? Was there a lesson? Is there a perspective that I haven't gotten yet? Relax. It's in your field. Is there a perspective that I have yet to learn? A lesson I have yet to learn? Something I haven't realized? Just relax and see if a new thought comes to you. Usually those new thoughts, if you relax, within a minute or two, they come. You have to kind of relax. Okay. All right. You may have gotten your new thought already. And now the fun part. Go out right in that area and clap. Actually clap like a flamingo dancer right in that area. You're just clapping that whole area right where it is. Clap, 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 right in that whole area. Clap it out. Clap, 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 clap. Okay? All right. All right. Pull your hand away. Okay. And now very, very slowly move your hand towards it and notice, is it still there? Is it less dense? And again, now if there's some left, go ahead and clap it out. Clap, 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 clap. And then you put your hand through again. Is there anything left there? And if there's anything left, just clap it again. It doesn't take much. It seems like such a big deal, but yet it's relative to your physical power, it's nothing. And you clap it out. It seemed like such a big deal. It was a big deal, right? Okay, now that you've done that and the field is clear, if it's not clear, clap again until it's gone. But for most of you here, 99% of you, it'll already be gone. And now notice the intensity of this thing. Is it as intense as it was when we started? Does it feel different? Does it feel like maybe it's not as important anymore? For some of you, you'll have it where you're like, that's not important anymore. Or others of you, it'll be just less important. Or you'll also have a new perspective. And some others of you, when you got the realization, the lesson, it evaporated and you couldn't even find it again after you got the lesson. It literally, poof, it's gone. Lesson learned. So that is the first technique. Use it for all your different things that are in your field. And those are just for the negative things to eliminate, right? And you come to cognomovement.com and learn about how we can actually grab the good thing, that abundance, that car you want to manifest, whatever it might be, that's in your field. And we have a method to pull that in and accelerate it and make it happen super fast. So this process, I wish we had more time on the show, but it is unbelievable and a visceral experience. It's a visceral experience that is undeniable, and the results are incredible.
Yeah, you know, I think that's it, Bill. We basically teach you how to control it physically. It's controllable by you. It's about you. It's for you. You don't have to ask for somebody else, right, to give you something. You can create and change through your own body. It's like, you know, turning on and off the power to a giant magnet. That's it. So thanks so much for this, Bill. We are out of time.
Hey,
Guys, come to guy.com and watch the interview on the 8th. Support us there, and come to cognomovement.com and reach out to us. We would love to hear from you guys. Let us know that you're listening to us here on UK Health Radio, and ask your questions. We'll answer. All right, Bill. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
thanks, Liz.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for being here with us on the New Life Perspective radio show. For more information or to find out more about the work that Bill and I do, please visit us at cognomovement.com or email us at info@cognomovement.com. See you again soon.